which are all those access specifiers? They are private, public and protected. The public access specifier means the members can be accessed by any function outside the class also. This member function can be declared within the class and it can be defined even inside the class or even outside the class also. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram PU College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Students, today in this session we can discuss these topics. One is access specifiers, member function inside a class and member function outside a class. Now let us see the definition of access specifier. And in previous session we have learned the definition of access specifiers and which are all those access specifiers. They are private, public and protected. Now let us see the definition of what is a private. The private access specifiers means a member data can only be accessed by the member function. Members declared under private are accessible only within the class, and if no access specifier is mentioned, then by default member functions are private. So here the definition of access specifier, the private, is that the member functions which are declared under private access specifier are accessible only within the class. Now look at the syntax. Here syntax is class name, open the bracket, and here we have to write the private access specifier with the colon, and here we are going to declare data members and member functions. Then we have to close the class with semicolon. In this example, this is an example where we have defined the data members and member functions under access specifier private. So the meaning of this is these are the data members are available only within the function. So if no access specifier is mentioned, then by default it is private. Here we have mentioned this a reserved word, it is a private access specifier here, and if you don't mention this, by default it takes as a private data members. So the meaning is the data members under private are accessible only within the functions, and these data members are accessible only these functions which are declared within the class. Now let us see an example here. In this example, class add, open the bracket, under private int x comma y semicolon and void get data semicolon is a function, close the class with semicolon. In this example, x and y are private data members and even get data, and these data members are accessible only within the class and with these data members. So this is the definition of private access specifier. Next one is public access specifier. The public access specifier means the members can be accessed by any function outside the class also. So here look at the syntax of this. Syntax class name, open the bracket, close this bracket with semicolon, and inside this this syntax is public access specifier colon and data members and member functions. So in this example, the definition says that members can be accessible or accessed by any function outside the class also. Any member functions or data members described or defined within the class, even these members can be accessed by outside the class or by some other class. That is the meaning of the public access specifier. Look at the example, class add. Here add is the name of the class, and open the bracket, close the class here, and inside the class we are declaring variables x and y under public and also a function void get data. So this is public access specifier. Now let us move on to next slide. Here protected. The member which are declared using protected can be accessed only by the member functions, friends of the class and also by the member functions derived from this class. So this is a definition of protected access specifier. Here can be accessed by only by the members functions within the class. This is one condition. Second character is friends of the class, and here you are going to learn a friend function. So those functions have accessible to this protected data members, and here and also by the member function derived from this class. So this derived from, this is what you have seen, one of the characteristics of OOPS, that is inheritance. So inheritance is nothing but acquiring property from the base class. So here we talk about the derived class. So here the functions derived from the base class or this class have the access to this protected data members. Now look at the syntax of this, and here syntax class, class name, protected data members and member function, close the class with semicolon. Example, class add protected int x comma y semicolon void get data. In this example, x and y are the data members declared under protected along with the member functions or member method void get data. The members cannot be accessed from outside. So this is one of the features of protected access specifiers, and the protected access specifiers is therefore similar to private access specifier. So this is about protected access specifier. Now let us move on to next slide. Here syntax for accessing class members. Here we have declared, for example, in the previous slide, look at this example here. In this example, these are the data members and member functions or member method. How do we access these data members inside a class? So the syntax is the class object dot member data class, and here another method is object dot member functions with argument. Here these two can be accessed with this dot operator. Here is the dot is an operator. So class name dot member data and object name dot member functions. So these are the syntax, or with the help of this we can access the members of a class. Now let us move on to next slide. Here member functions, and in our first session I have told you that this member function can be declared within the class, and it can be defined even inside the class or even outside the class also. We have seen an example program in the first session. Now let us see the member functions can be defined in two places. One is inside class definition and outside class definition. Here syntax is class, class name, and this is an inside class definition. Means this is a syntax of inside class definition, means how do we define the function inside the class. Here class, class name, and the class open here and class ends here, and in between that we have a function. This is return type, function name with or without arguments, and here statements. These are the statements for this particular function. So this is nothing but body of the function. Anything we have written between these two pair of parentheses is body of the function, and this class ends here. So this is the syntax of how do we define a function inside the class. Now let us see this example here with one small program. This is an example for class function defined inside a class. Now this example, to find area of a triangle, you know the formula, area is equal to length into breadth. Now the program starts with header file, and here class, this is defining a class with rectangle. This is the name of the class. Class name is a rectangle, open the bracket, and here we are declaring the variables length and the breadth under private access specifier. So private int length comma breadth, and under public we have declared there is a function void get data, and this function is declaration as a data member, and this is a data member of this class. class rectangle. And here we are defining the function inside the class. So immediately after declaring the function, we are writing the statement for this particular function, get data. Here the statement cin, length and operator, breadth, and closing the function. So in this example, this is one function declared inside the class. Similarly, after closing this bracket, we have defined one more function void put data. And again, open the bracket, write the statement in this example, cout, length and breadth. So the cout is output statement to print length into breadth or the result. So close this function. After closing these two functions, the class is closed here with semicolon. So if you look at this example here, class open here and closes here. This is a class. Inside this, we have two functions, and this is one function up to here, and this is second function. And in this example, these two functions are defined inside the class. So this is an example for inside class definition. Now, how do we execute this? Let us write the main function. After closing this class here, we will continue here with void main function. Inside this, open the bracket, and as I told you in the first session, main function, the first step is we have to create an object of a class. How do we do that? This is rectangle space R2. Here rectangle is name of the class. This is name of the class rectangle, and R2 is an object. It is an identifier. So how do we access the data members of a class? That is what you have seen in our previous slide, the syntax. Name of the object dot get data. Here dot is an operator. With the help of dot operator, we are accessing the data members and member function of a class. In this example, R2 is an object dot get data. So we are accessing the function get data. After that, we are accessing second function R2 dot put data and close this main function. So this is a simple example to show the function definition inside a class. Now let us move on to next slide. Next one is a function definition outside a class. A function declared as a member of a class is known as member function. This is the definition of a member function, and member function declared within a class must be defined separately outside the class. So this is here we are going to see an example for function definition outside the class. So first step is declaration. Once you declare the class, and function definition should be outside the class. Now the definition of member function is similar to normal function, but a member function has an identity label in the header. This label tells us the compiler which class the function belongs to. Here if you follow the syntax, so it is possible for us to access these members, and the scope of the member function is limited to the class mentioned in the header. So the scope is nothing but the life of the member functions which is defined outside the class is restricted to the particular function. Next one is scope resolution operator. These the two colons together is scope resolution operator. It used to define the members function outside the class. So these are the few points or characteristics of a function definition outside the class. Now let us see the syntax of this. This is after completing the class definition, we have to write the function definition outside the class. The syntax is return type space class name of the class with operator, scope resolution operator, and name of the function with or without arguments. After this, open this bracket, write statements, then close the bracket. So this is the syntax to define the function definition outside a class. Now let us see a simple program to work with outside the class definition. Now here, this is an example. The program as usual starts with header files, iostream.h, and here class operation. We are defining a class. Here class operation, open the bracket and close the bracket. Here class ends here with semicolon. Inside this we have private access specifier, and here int a comma b. These are the data members, and under public we have declared void get data comma int x comma int y semicolon. See, this is function declaration as a data member. So here only observe this, and here only we have declared the function, but we have not yet defined the function, means we have not written the function definition. So similarly we have one more function here, int sum and int product. These two are the functions defined or declared inside the class and closing the class. So next, after this we have to rewrite the function definition for all the functions declared inside the class. Now let us see this example. Now after closing the class, here in this slide we are closing the class. Next we have to proceed with the function definition. How do we do that? That is what we have seen in our previous slide. The syntax says return type void space operation. Operation is name of the class. Here we have class name is operation. So here this is operation and scope resolution operator, 2 colons, and get data x comma y. Here observe this, get data is the function with the parameter. So we have to write this function. So here in the syntax, get data x comma y, these two are the arguments, and open the bracket, and here we are writing body of the function. Here a equals to x and b equals to y. Now closing the function. Now similarly we have to write one more function what we have declared inside the class, that is operate. This is int space operation, name of the class, with scope resolution operator, and sum is the function. If you look at the previous slide, here this is the function sum. We have to define it outside the class. So here sum, again the syntax remains same, and open the bracket, close the bracket. Here we are writing the statement. It is addition of two numbers, that is a plus b. Now this is the second class. Now in the main class, this after completing the function definition outside the class, next we have to proceed with void main. This is the main function to be defined. So here void main, inside this, open the bracket, and here ends the void main here. And as I told you, the first step would be declaration of an object here, or creation of an object of a class. So here operation is name of a class space x. X is an object here. So this is an identifier. So this is creation of an object. Next we have to invoke the function, or we have to call the function when in order. So how do we do that? This is x dot, x is the name of an object, dot get data with the parameter. So here we are invoking the first function, get data with the values. So this is another, this is also known as passing the values through parameters. Means we are entering values of variables x and y as 10 and 20 through this parameter. So now after this, next function is x dot sum. We have to invoke this function. We have to invoke the second function. Next we have to invoke the next function. So then we have to close this main function. So this is an example for a function definition outside the class. Students, in this session we have discussed syntax of access specifiers, and also function definition inside the class, and also function definition outside the class with simple programs. Thank you very much.